we get started, I wanted to, we lost one of the members of the Lincoln PSD, Mr. Louis Thomas, who's, I think, a good friend to a lot of us, and I've known him for quite a long time, but if we could, I'd just like to have a moment of silence to honor him. Thank you. Please stand and say pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, this is the Lincoln County Commission regular session on December 19th, 2013 at 10 a.m. And the members present, Darrell Baker Clerk, Charles Vance President, Charles McKinney Commissioner, and KK Matthews is absent. The meeting is called to order by myself. I need a motion to approve the minutes of the regular session of the Lincoln County Commission that was held on November 21st at 10 a.m.
I'll move.
I'll second that. So all yes?
Yes.
And then I need another motion to approve the special session of the Lincoln County Commission meeting that was held on November 25th at 10 a.m.
I'll move.
I'll second. All yes?
Yes.
Is there anyone not on the agenda that would like to speak at this time? Is Mr. Stewart on the agenda?
No, yeah.
You can go ahead and speak now.
Thank you. I've been out here a few times and talked to you about our plan to close a few of our power plants because they're not going to meet EPA emissions guidelines as of 2015. And so we filed a case with the West Virginia Public Service Commission to allow us to purchase 2/3 of Unit 3 at the John Amos plant in Charleston, which is about 850, 860 megawatts. They just approved that last week, so I wanted to let you guys know that they did approve that. However, they did not approve the request to purchase half of the Mitchell plant, which is located in Marshall County in around Wheeling. But they did not basically rule on that because Virginia's PSC had denied that request earlier. So we're working with the Virginia PSC, and we'll continue to work with West Virginia PSC to see if we can work out a plan so that we can still purchase that half of that plant up in Moundsville. So just want to keep you updated that we do have a generation that will, we can meet the needs of our customers. So we won't be turning the lights off. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak now? Not, we'll go ahead with the agenda.
Okay. I put on the agenda to the appoint board vacancy on the Hamlin PSC, but I didn't know if you all wanted to review the applications first.
Is this the Hamlin piece? Is it the municipality?
Yes. They,
Just a sewer.
Oh,
Yeah.
sewer.
yeah, and they has to be within the city limits of Hamlin. They did write a letter requesting that the one that's term was up was Mr. Duty, and they wanted him back. We got his application and one other application.
Let me see the other application. But that's Mr. Duty's who they would request to be back
Yeah.
on that. I'll entertain a motion to go ahead and reappoint Mr. Duty.
I'll move.
I'll second that. And all yes?
Yes.
And then to appoint the board vacancy on Parks and Rec. We received 2 applications on that, but there's a little discrepancy. Some of the board members say that it has to be someone from the Allen Creek area. I can't find anything stating that it has to be. The one that we're filling was from the Allen Creek area. So we have one that's from Allen Creek and one that's not as far as the applications. Do you know if it has to be from the area?
I mean, is it, I don't know myself.
I think our policy, and we try to keep it spread out across the county so you have representation.
Okay,
Is
so
is either one of those from that area?
yeah,
Okay.
it was Mr. Saul that we're filling, and Mr. Clay is from that area. Huh.
Even though they're maybe from the same district.
I'll entertain a motion to appoint Dallas Clay.
So moved.
Is there a second? I'll second. Is that not it? I wanted to make comment that, the reason, Commissioner Matthews is not here, he had an appointment with, some orthopedists, I think, so what he said. Okay.
Okay, the next was, we received a report for the on-site visit to 911 from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security Grant Programs finding. You just want me to put that on the agenda?
Yeah, what was there wasn't a fine.
Yeah, it was, that if the Lincoln County Commission and Office of Emergency Services receives any future sub-grants from this office, that the monthly reports need to be in a timelier fashion.
Was that the only fine?
There was, that a sub-grant in paper format be filed, and per federal requirements, a sub-grant, it just lists why that should be filed in paper form.
Yeah, I wanted it just brought forward the commission, just so we know exactly, as far as the results of that.
Oh,
And,
sorry, excuse me, they did it in paper format, it needs to be filed in digital file. Sorry,
I don't know if we have to accept the fine. I mean, I guess we could just have a motion to accept the findings. Who signed off on that? Does anyone sign? Or do we have to sign off on
no,
it?
it's the grant.
Okay. I don't know that needs a motion. I just wanted to make the commission aware of the findings, and I'm sure that the people that are involved with that know the findings are correct, whatever needs to be corrected.
Okay. The next on the agenda is Alan Holder regarding new county boundary issues.
Mr. Holt.
I was given word prior to being here to be short, so give me a couple of minute warning when you want me to shut up. Unfortunately, you can hold up a time like you used to in speech class and work hard if you need to. It was first brought to my attention by our mapping office in the 911 center, and then I received some phone calls last week. After the last election, the clerk's office had requested some folks to update their voters' registration with proper physical addresses because they did not exist in their files. They called the clerk's office to do so. The clerk's office, which has a listing of all of the addresses that have been run through our offices that have been approved, and the address ranges and everything that is official. Well, they couldn't find the people's addresses within that boundary list. So they contacted us, and as soon as we looked at it, we knew why they couldn't find the people's addresses. It was because according to the map, the folks lived in Logan County. And the area in question is the area of Tony Curve on the southern end of the county. I've done quite a bit of research. I've talked with Mr. Baker, I've talked with Mr. Brumfield about it, and briefed the sheriff on it this morning. There are roughly 27 residents that fall into this area. Here's a listing of the actual addresses that we have identified. And did I get that to you, Daryl? Or there you are.
Yeah, I looked in the system too on those addresses. It affected with the McClellan highways on the top of that list. There's 12 people with those addresses
That are registered to vote.
that are registered to vote on the McClellan highway portion. There's no way to search the Tony Road because they're in the system as needs address now. Any of the ones that had these old Tony addresses.
Here's the map, two maps, one for you, Mr. McCann, both, that shows the area. And then here is a map that shows it with the county boundary on it. I've looked at our maps, I've looked at Department of Highway maps, I've looked at maps out of the assessor's office. Every map clearly agrees with each other that people live in Logan County. They pay their taxes in Lincoln. Some vote in Lincoln, some vote in Logan, I think would probably be a fair assessment.
None vote in Logan. I was in Logan yesterday.
So none of them vote in
None
Logan?
vote in Logan, and 911 in Logan does not provide addresses in that area.
Yeah, I talked to their addressing manager yesterday, or day before yesterday, and she was not clearly aware of it. It appears that if the people do call 911, the majority of the calls ring into Logan County because the phone company has digital maps just like we do, and they lay their customer base over top of it, and they make that determination. And there's a tax code or a TAR code that's associated with that number, and if their call rings into Logan 911, then the utility taxes from their phone also gets paid to Logan County.
They did, however, tell me that they don't take the call, they automatically reroute it to Lincoln.
That's correct. They automatically reroute it to Lincoln
Yeah.
County. If you look at the official county map here, you can see the area as Route 10 comes up. It comes up and, you know, back here, the Winchester property was clearly in Lincoln County, there's no question about it. And then as you come up, the road is in Lincoln County, this is the Winchester property, it's in Lincoln County, and then it makes a swoop down underneath the county line because it follows the river at this point, and all of those people are physically outside the county.
Sheriff Farley, you have a call on line 7. Sheriff Farley, line 7.
These are maps that that came out of the assessor's office. You can see this is the area. It's taxed in Lincoln County. It's in the assessor's books as taxed in Lincoln, but here's the county line on the map, and it shows it's south of the county line. When you look at a different layout, here's what it is, but when you come up here, you'd agree that this is Lincoln County, because it's north of the county line. All of this is taxed in Logan County. So what we found over the years that,
Here's a Logan County tax map.
and it says taxed in Lincoln,
Yeah, the portion where you're leaving from the Winchester property, that portion is taxed in Logan County, and then the portion in the Tony Addition is taxed in Lincoln, even though it's Logan. The maps are the same though, as far as they're similar.
I don't think there's anybody's maps that question it, other than the fact that the people have always thought they lived in Lincoln County. They've voted in Lincoln County. They've probably been arrested by Lincoln County deputies and served in court in Lincoln County, which creates another issue. I can only imagine the first political candidate that files for office from that area, and somebody will challenge their legality to be there. And I bring it to the commission's attention because I, as the addressing manager and 911 director for the county, I question my authority to issue addresses in a county that's clearly not ours. And I guess I've read the state code, I've looked at it, and I think, you know, we've got the obvious answer to have it surveyed, have somebody tell us to make sure, and if we in fact all come to the conclusion that it is in Logan County, ask the people. And I think it requires the county to have a survey and the agreement of both counties, and to apply to the legislature and to physically have the county line redrawn to the boundary of the river through here to include those people in Lincoln County.
Of course, in doing so, then you have to address this here too, wouldn't you? I mean, because you're saying this is being taxed in Logan County and it's in Lincoln County, right?
That's correct.
So this whole, you know,
Well, where they pay taxes, I don't think is as big an issue as the statutory authority for them to vote, the statutory authority for us to issue
well,
addresses.
that's what I'm saying though, is basically those people would have to know that's Lincoln County. So if they do, you know, and vice versa. I
found probably a half a dozen instances across the county of where people are taxed in one county and live in another and know that. Cold River Road down past Island Creek where I live, there's about 50 pieces of property that are all taxed in Lincoln County that live in Canal. And when I went back and started to talk to people and ask people why was that, and they said it used to be part of a huge farm, and when it was all subdivided, if it had originally been in Lincoln County, then when it was subdivided, they all put it back in Lincoln County. The attorneys didn't file it with the proper counties, they just filed it with whoever it initially got filed with.
Of course, you know, Charles and I were talking a while ago about the Boone County side, you know, over at Morrisville and over in there, and where's the line at there and where it should be and things like that. And I think there's quite a bit of, I know when we went and met with the Boone County Commission and prosecuting things, it was about these kind of, you know, where's the line, where's it not at. things like that.
The Boone County situation was in a slight situation different.
And it was because the state code clearly states where the county boundary was supposed to be at that point. And if you look at the state code, I think the state code reflects what's shown on these maps. The state code clearly indicated in the Boone County case where it was supposed to be, except for the farm owned by such and such, and I think it was an Adkins family. And I asked, well, why did they just specifically exempt this farm from coming into Lincoln County? And they said that was done because they were Confederate people, and when Lincoln County was formed, they wanted no part of a county named after a Northern president. So they exempted that piece of property, and it went around his property. Well, in 1947, when the United States Census Bureau drew the USGS quadrangle maps, they drew it based upon the state code, and they didn't look at that exception. That exception wasn't played in there. And then the legislature certifies the USGS topographical maps as it did here in state code as the official county boundaries, and then no one ever checked it to make sure that it was right in 1947. So I think if it was all said and done, the legislature approved the change in 1947, and it is Lincoln County's. But that had a lot of history behind it, where this, I think, is just maybe a misunderstanding by the people that live there, because anybody that can look at a map, none of them agree that it's in Lincoln County.
Is anyone here from that area?
The one question I have about it is the changes made in the 1992 Winchester lawsuit, is those changes, have they been reflected in the maps? At any,
I haven't talked to you since we talked.
I know the sign was physically moved up there from.
And when the sign moved?
From driving through, you know, from driving through that
we
area.
were right all along in the Winchester case. The county line is there. All of these maps show that area. But when you look at the map out of the assessor's office, which my staff got some time ago, which was dated 1996, was the last revision on it, it still shows the property where Winchester was at being taxed in Logan County. So we may have gotten the coal severance money and we may have won the lawsuit, but I don't think anybody changed where the underlying property was taxed for the initial property taxes.
That means Logan's gonna send us a check since '96.
Well, if they send us a check since '96, then we're gonna have to send them a check since, who knows, for this other area. It's a give and take.
Get a good trade those coal values for value.
You're right. So, at this situation, I guess I would like for the county to get a surveyor to, you know, granted I'm not a certified surveyor, but I think what I see is there, and I think, Darrell, I think you're in agreement that it's in Logan County. I think that all of us are in agreement that, according to the map, it's in Logan County.
Why don't we send a letter to the judge and ask him what he thinks about this? Do you think that would, because he may be able to give us some things he might be able to do with.
That's a good start.
You know,
But in the meantime, even if we do give a concession that it is Logan County, I think that the fire department, the ambulance service from Lincoln County, we have areas all over the county that we know that we respond across our county line merely because we're the closest and that's the right
Well,
thing.
you know, that's the thing. These people pay taxes in Lincoln County and send their kids down to Harts. You know, if they're in Logan County, how they gonna vote? You know, if we don't get this straightened out, you know, their kids are gonna be going to school down here. And I know there's kids goes from Harts to Chattanooga, but that's their choice. But you know, these people have lived there all their lives, living one way, paying taxes one way, and then all of a sudden we come up and say, well, the GPS or whatever says that.
We've been wrong. We've been collecting taxes from you for all these years. But
Right,
we
you
don't
know,
want you now.
and to me, if I lived in that area,
I'd
I
be
would,
mad.
Yeah, I'd be upset. But I do understand the concerns about, you know, where do you vote, make sure, and if we could get some kind of direction from the judge as far as what he thinks about that, I always think it's, because, you know, we could get a survey done, it's gonna cost X number of
I
dollars.
even asked the question to Logan County, if I'm unable to get a Lincoln County address for these people and I have to turn them down for voter's registration, and I send them up here, are you guys gonna register them to vote? And they said, we don't provide addresses for that area. through their
Well,
911, so they'd be on the same boat too. They would have to turn them down. But we all know that those people deserve to vote somewhere,
Yeah.
regardless.
Well, that's the whole thing, I think that might need to be looked at with the judge, and just say.
Well, the judge, I think, could give us a ruling on what we should do in the interim. And obviously, we've got an election coming up, and we cannot get this thing through the legislature and a bill passed, even if we chose to change the county line prior to the deadlines of that election. Because if it was passed by the legislature next year and became effective from the date of passage, it would be April or May before it was changed.
Well, but I think if you've got a judge's
I think the judge
opinion
can
or
do
order
something
on it,
temporary
right,
with that.
set it up till then, until we can get that done.
Yeah, I think
Because
the
what I
judge can
don't
do
want is, I
something.
don't want people not being able to vote. And I want people to, to me, it just seems.
And I think maybe even a community meeting with all of us involved to ask the people, because I think any court's going to take into consideration what the people that live in that area want. And if we petition to keep it in Lincoln County, and then we have 5 or 6 loud people that go to the legislature, I didn't want that, I want to be in Logan County, then we're fought with trying to defend our actions. And if we have at least a community meeting and ask for their input, and take a survey of what those people want, and then go from there. I think the majority of them think they live in Lincoln County, and the majority of them want to remain where they think they live.
The calls that I've got, the people who feel like they're part of the community hearts.
Exactly.
Yeah, they say they live in Lincoln County, they want to remain in Lincoln County.
That's what everyone that I've talked to has been, but I do agree, and I think we've got the addresses and names and things like that. We could poll them and see, as far as what they think.
And you see this piece of property here, and it's below the county line, and it's on our tax map. So,
Or do they pay in Logan though, or?
they pay in Lincoln.
Lincoln, okay. And that's really Logan, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
But don't you think the landowner of the property is split, or whatever, they can like choose, maybe Josh?
I think it's where the greatest assessed value is. And in this case, the greatest assessed value would probably be Logan County, unless he has a big house or development in this edge of the county, so. But
But we all need to do whatever we can to help those people who want to get properly registered for voting. That should be the driving force.
Yeah, and I think if I'll entertain a motion to go ahead and send Judge Hope a letter asking that particular thing, that we've got an election coming up, we need to know, something in the meantime that we get this straightened up, and what would you recommend we do?
I move we send a letter.
I'll second that. Oh, yes.
Yes.
President,
Thank you, Alan.
could I ask Daryl, the precinct maps that we had great fun with 4 years ago, what does it, do we have any idea what it follows? Or where it was? I know it was Joe Vaughan, etc. I know there's a detailed description of each precinct, which is buried in the commission orders now probably, but there was like a long paragraph describing every line for every precinct, but do we know whether it follows?
That was a question we talked a little bit about, I guess it was last week, but never did get around to that.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't looked at the precinct map.
I would think that it probably excludes those people, and the reason I say that is because she uses the same base
Yeah,
maps
I
that we
think
all
so.
do from USGS.
I was saying
and-
that it follows the county line. I would
Okay.
say.
Yeah.
But I know for a fact that these people are currently being counted as living in Logan County because the Census Bureau uses those.
Yeah.
And they do aerial photography to do your count for structures and determine that. So we've got at least probably close to 100 residents that live in what should be Lincoln County that have been counted in Logan, so.
The only other comment I got is if we end up surveying, Logan should have to pay half of the cost, right?
According to the state law, the survey is paid for by the person who does the petition.
Well, both of us got a petition.
If we both petition it together, I think then that's the case. But like I said, there's some give and take down there. There's some area down there that in all reality, Logan County could get back and we could get back and vice versa, that may make it a wash when it comes to money between the two counties.
Well, I think eventually that's what we want, but I think this may help us with this upcoming election and things like that to make sure that those people who protect their rights are protected in the meantime.